I'm your African history teacher, Professor Hicks. I'm on for a brief 5 to 10 minutes. You might not see my image up there, or you might, but I wanted to give you the last part of the slideshow. All right, about black people were the first Africans. So here we go. Existing cranial evidence suggests not only a prehistoric presence of Africoid or black people in the New World, but that these people were indeed the first Americans. There is ample authority to explain the old world origins of these early migrants, their migratory paths from the old world to the new, and their ultimate fate, as well as that of their descendants who were born on the new world. Prehistoric Africoids. Remember, prehistoric means before written history. The prehistoric Africoids who appear to have reached and settled in the world were descendants of the very ancient black folk who migrated from Africa into Europe, Western Asia, India, Southeast Asia, and the Pacific Islands, China, and Japan. It appears in scattered numbers. These Africoid pioneers, first as Australoids and then the Negroids, migrated to the American hemisphere perhaps as early as 70,000 BCE or before the current era, or Common Era. Now here's a picture of some of the first Ainu who migrated to Japan. These are their ancestors. Just look at these images for a moment. This is a photograph of black Japanese generals who were in the Japanese army as late as World War One and World War Two. I'm just going to expand the picture so that you guys maybe see a little. Yes, those are the Ainu people who developed through natural selection and through mutations into what we call today the Japanese people. Now remember, I talk often about the epicantral fold on the eyes. Remember, the Ainu people, the Twa Mbuti in South Africa, in today's South Africa, are the ones who brought this phenotype over with them to Japan. It is not the other way around. It's easy to become confused with that because our minds have so used and been conditioned to see this image or these images, I should have said these people in their current state, but this is not how always they looked. The Ottoman world regions where Africans reigned. Okay, so these are the places where these Twa and Booties, where they first moved out to. The Ottoman Islands, they were called Negritos. Central Africa, Negritos, Pygmies, Twa Mbuti, and Moesha. Now, all of these are black people, folks. Don't get confused with all of these different names. China had the black dwarfs. Ice Age Europe had the Gromoldies. We talked about them yesterday. Malaysia had the Orang, Asili, Sakai, and the Simen. The Philippines had the Aita. Southern Africa, Bushmen, Hottentots, another derogatory name, Khoi, Kung, and San. Taiwan had the Little Black Man. Vietnam, the Champa people. Richard D. King spoke of the Seed people. And Albert Church, with another great historian, had called them the Little Red Men. So all of these names I just read out to you are known as African people, but under different types of bodies. Sometimes taller, shorter, sometimes wider, cranial, all different types. And these are the names that they have acquired over the years by these scientists. The fifth migration, the Mongoloid Asian. Now, these are the people who you're used to seeing in TVs and movies. But you notice if you look at some areas, particularly in the southeast and the northeastern coast, these people would not only have the Chinese look, epicantral fold, but they began to get dark. But they first came over in a light skin. They were known as the Mongoloids. And this is the fifth migration. A number of scholars believe that for several centuries, the invading Mongoloids uprooted and exterminated many of the Africoid residents. Yes, this has been kind of proven that the Mongoloids exterminated those first Africans who they found there. They had several wars. One was called the Telegas Wars. And this war was one where the Africans, after being defeated by the initial Mongolians. Remember, the Mongolians were warlike people. So when they came across to the Americas and saw these sedentary people chilling out with their mangoes and chilling out and having a nice time, enjoying the weather, they they went nuts and they took everything that they had. But at first they began to exterminate them, and then they began to intermarry with them. Sometimes Mongoloid families took in African people. Now you're thinking about, you're trying to picture in your mind a mixture of people, but predominantly African at first. Now, one of the problems with the Africans had was that these people, Mongoloid, came over by foot. The Africans came to from Africa in boats. So the mass amount of people coming across land as compared to how you could come by boat was very advantageous for the Mongoloids. As such, many of the Africans that were here already had already developed a new culture for themselves, a new language. They weren't speaking the same language they spoke when their ancestors came here. They had a sedentary life. They built agriculture. But Asians are not known for their advanced agricultural skills. Yes, they were some, but the Africans are well known for that, and that's what they had. So when the Mongolians came here, all right, after some initial warfare between both groups, they kind of settled in like any people would. It is highly likely that most of the blacks who escaped extermination or expulsion from their lands probably mixed and melted into the billion-bodied Mongoloid gene pool. Now this is coming to the mosquito. This is talking about the mosquito coast of Nicaragua. Just basically trying to show where settlements went. I'm not going to stay that too long. Here describes what was going on in the mosquito coast. The other images I showed you were more important, particularly the Japanese, because they are family or ancestors of the Anu, A-I-N-U. And this is a story about Albergo Vespucci, and how many claim that he stole the name Medigo. This is for a college class I had. This too. It dives too deep for us to spend time on this today. I'm only on for about 10 minutes. Wanted to give you the last part of the slides. All right, let's see if we can go. So I think that will be it, family. I just wanted to get the end of the slide to you. So tomorrow I will be broadcasting, but we can move on to something else. With that, Professor Hicks is going to say Ashe.